Okay, here we go with the X box, X shape, starting with the box. So that's where they came up with the name of the game. And there's a little bit of the floor plan. Again, here's the ruler with 6 divided, even though the measurement might be off, into thirds. Here's the final piece. A little trickier way to divide this. You could always use the division of the box, but this one is just showing you a little bit of how this is constructed. It gets a little tricky, but just to try to explain it, at least there's the background of it. So there you have the entire shape. And again, here's the floor plan view of this. And ground plane is where the floor plan rests, which is what you're standing on. So remember, a plane is divided or created with 3 points makes the plane in geometry. So you're standing on it. And here it is, just showing the X shape using 2 long boxes that intersect. So in some cases you don't even have to measure it, but in this case you want to go over this little process on how to divide it. And gets a little tricky, but the solution is there, so try to explain it a couple times into this. So again, a third of the way, starting out very similar fashion, so the repetition of this is going to take place in a lot of these drawings, but just to give you that dimensional look to it, there's the point going left to right, and again, drawing this across to the selection right to left, and again, here it is left to right. So you start off with this overall rectangular shape, and you could divide this into fours and then just eliminate the back row, but in this case you want to try to do it in thirds. So this measurement from the front point is an arbitrary section, and I'm just going up to the top corner, and this also doesn't matter as long as it's not on the vanishing point. You can start off with another rendition. So Illustrator's giving me a little tricky button there, so that's okay. But here it's going to pass through that corner of the box or the rectangle down to this line segment. This is just a measuring point, so it doesn't matter where it intersects this point, but it will. And there's the points. So now you can see you have a horizontal line that is parallel to the eye level or the horizon line. And I'll just use Illustrator, just a box to show it to you, and then we'll at the end just kind of show you how to make the measurement for this. So we'll give it a little bit of a color, and this is a nice way in the software of both Illustrator and Photoshop to create some equal measurements. So there's 3 boxes. You can see they're not all the way there, but just extend them all, select them. Now you have 3 points that are equal distances. It's divisible by 3 very easily, and that creates that shape. So what you do is you take where they intersect and just go right up to that point. And this is, they call this a false vanishing point, but it's just a segment to help you measure something, and it's easier seen on some pieces. Again, we're working in a section that now gives me this warning, and now I can go ahead and divide this and intersect this. So now watch what happens. I go from the left vanishing point to there, intersect it, deselect everything so it doesn't start to add points, and do the same here. And now you have this unequal measurement. So, or you can use any kind of measurement really, for even if it was even. Cross the diagonal so that intersects those 3 line segments, and do the same thing. Extend it from the right through that point where it intersects itself, and now it's helping me divide it on the opposite side. So we had a rectangular shape in perspective, and now it's divisible with an odd number using this measurement device, as long as it's a right angle, which is 90 degrees to the selection. So now there it is divided. I'll leave all the lines up there temporarily, but there it is. You have all these pieces right there, and now it's just a matter of going through and taking the shape and starting to illustrate that selection. So again, there's the ruler that shows me the measurement of the third. So there's the eye level right there on the division for that. So we're just representing that again. And here I'm just going to take that ruler. I made a duplicate layer, and bring this down here. We'll put 0 on there. So this is just showing you another way to do it, because you don't have Illustrator to make 3 boxes that you can use. And I'm just kind of showing you this. So 0 is at the top left corner of this box, which is also the intersection of the front rectangular in perspective. And here just rotating this around. So now you have to come up with a number that's divisible by 3, and you can see that it's not going to be an easy number, but we'll go ahead and do it. You could use 3/4 of an inch each way across, so trying to create that shape. So that's what's going to happen. So we'll come back, but there's the X box. Here we come again, using 1 3/4 of an inch as the dimension to measure that. So I just kind of reversing it. There's 3 inches right there. That's probably the easiest way to do it, even though it's off the page. I'm doing it just so you can see this, and then dragging those up, and that gives you that measurement at every inch. So it's probably just to explain it using the whole number of the inch, and just hide this temporarily, and just kind of showing you. So all of the stuff, hopefully you liked geometry when you took it, and hopefully you can see the application that it takes place on all of this drawing. And keep in mind, this is a hand-on drawing with perspective, but all of the animation that you see, everything is connected with this mathematical principle. So as much as people either like or don't like math, you have to kind of acknowledge that this is where it all came from, and you're working on one giant calculator with the computer that's generating all this vector and math problem with you. So it's kind of beneath it. So art encompasses every academic discipline that's out there. So it's kind of a nice combination. Everything's out there. So here's the layout drawing, the construction part of it. And I'm going to try to do two drawings here, see if I have time to squeeze this in here. Might be longer than you expected, but there's the drawing, just making it a little bit lighter. I'm working on a layer above it, just in Illustrator to show you. And I'll go ahead and take the pen tool to do this, make it a little easier. Set the default color there, so here's the first point. And obviously you can see the plus sign. Think of this as the Red Cross sign, the emblem, the logo, the Swiss flag, and all the same design in perspective, and comes across very easily. You can see I have it filled with white, so it's going to make it a little tricky on this last click. Kind of hunting through this, see if I can find it. Hopefully I get it. I don't think that's it, but let's give it a try. Nope. Back that up a bit. It's the one below it. So got lucky there. So there's the emblem. There's the cross plus sign right in the middle. Here it is, the finished part, so I jumped ahead just to show it to you. So again, we'll do two of them this time, since we have the selection part for it. So now it's just a matter of taking that line segment. And again, if you went all the way to the top, I could have gone over the horizon line and really given you a problem, but it's just kind of showing you the plus sign for this part. And think of this again as architecture, going back all the way to that section, and taking a look for that architecture section on this edge. So it's showing the left panel. And like if you could raise everything, which some of the software does, it allows you to manipulate this, but the understanding of doing this is really going to assist you. It doesn't matter. Like I said, CAD programs, different software will generate the model for you really quickly. But just for the beginning, it's good to understand the theory behind it and give you that practical application to it until you're ready to leapfrog ahead and use the software. So here, just going to run through that for the first section. You can see it's a little tall, so we can modify that. Finish the back wall, and there you can see the three walls. Connect this one back. Extend the wall up, the vertical building it. And again, if you ever get a chance to see a construction site, just kind of watching them place these buildings in there, if it's not prefabricated, then they're actually building each wall one board at a time, 2x4s usually, metal, aluminum, all kinds of stuff that you can get involved with. and building that up. So some of this, since the line's going back, it already is connected. You're just simply connecting the selection all the way to the top piece. And it brings that up to the section there. Connect this one to the back. And there it is at that section. Perfect, perfect. And there you have it. So it's kind of the, again, the ground plane, which is light, the floor plan, which goes up to the top. Take a quick picture of that so you can see it. And there it is, all shaded with the cast shadow. And then here it is again, just showing you the quick construction of that at that time. And that'll give you that piece. And again, using the pen tool to just go ahead and create that section on there. This time using a little bit of the metallic gradients to just set that ahead of time, and going ahead and placing those pieces right there makes it a little bit easier. So there's the panels for the left hand side. So I'm kind of keeping consistent, repeating the way these are illustrated. So now taking a mid selection in Illustrator, using some of the colors. Maybe we'll change the color. Don't have to always use the metal, but just to try to get a gradient. So the gradients are there, but they're not particularly in the right selection order that I would like to use, but at least it gives you something to look at straight away, and then just simply modify, and it should set it up pretty easily. So whatever's on the right facing walls are using that same gradient. It's not always the case, but just for this section, it's going to help out, kind of building up your drawing memory and drawing skills to get you going. So here's the selection onto this one, going right from back to back, and it builds it up to there. Perfect. Puts that piece on. So now you have the selection. Now it's just a matter of taking the gradient editor to build this section up. And that's going to put that piece in there just right. Here's a little bit of the gradient at the top. And there it is up at the section for there. So there you have it, all the different gradients, just kind of putting it so it's going dark to light. And same with these, you can rotate it, try to get the handle on it pretty quickly. Just selecting it, making that gradient, and now it's just a matter of taking a look at this with a little bit of a grayscale with the pen tool to do the cast shadow. Again, the angle of this is determined, almost like the false vanishing point. I could go all the way to the end, but I'll just clip it real quickly here. And I could have sent it to the back, but just to kind of illustrate it so you can see this part. Just click here. We're going to slowly put that up on the edge there. See, it's going, just kind of fainting it to the right vanishing point, and then putting this one on the back, going all the way to the top to bottom, coming down here. And there you have it, a little bit of the cast shadow, and the cast shadows actually radiate from that piece. So that's where you kind of take a look at it. And then here it is just as a finished sketch. Here's the floor plan again, just going inverted. So when you take a look, instead of going up, we went down inside of it, put a little of the gradients on there, darkened them up, made them stand out perfectly.